Hi, my name is Jonathan Roth, and this is Geopolitical Futures Video. I'm joined from Austin, Texas, by Dr. George Friedman. We're here to talk about probably the hottest topic in the world right now, and that's Bitcoin. And I must preface this conversation, George, by saying first off that I have spent a considerable amount of the last 3 to 4 months traveling around the world, checking out what's happening on the cryptocurrency mining side of things. And I obviously have my own opinions, but we're here to find out what yours are. And I think those are the most pressing right now, especially with what's happening geopolitically when it comes to Bitcoin. This is a question many people have. Why does Bitcoin really matter, George, to anyone that's interested in geopolitics?
Well, in 2008, we saw an asset class, housing, go down in price, and the derivatives simply crash. We're still living with the wreckage of that. We're living with Europe fragmented, oil prices having come down and really crushing Saudi Arabia and Russia, the Chinese having turned from a high growth to a low growth economy, and huge stresses on the United States. So if Bitcoin is going to become as large and important as its proponents claim, then it's really important to understand what it is, because any asset class can decline. And if it declines, it has consequences way beyond those of those who own the asset, as we saw in 2008. So this is a geopolitical question. Assuming that the proponents are correct, and this is going to be as huge as it is, we really have to understand it, because if it has a crisis, it's going to hit all of us.
Interesting. Okay. Look, you just wrote a fascinating article that went into some of the background, really debating what Bitcoin actually is, whether it's a currency or an asset. And you really laid it out as best as I've ever seen it laid out online. Why don't you explain for me, what is Bitcoin? Is it a currency or is it an asset? What is it?
Well, it's certainly an asset. The question is it a currency or a commodity? What kind of asset is it? As a currency, currencies tend to be stable. They go up by small percentages. If they collapse, it's usually downward and because of political reasons. But a currency that fluctuates wildly in its price, as this has on the upside, means that you get up in the morning and you find out you have more or less money than you thought you had. And an economy in that situation has trouble pricing anything. So it's not behaving as if it were a currency. As for a commodity, you have to say, what commodity is it? A commodity usually has a use value. It's oil, it's pineapples, it's something. What is the use value of the Bitcoin? So it is not a commodity in any way that we've understood it. It's not behaving like a currency. It's something else. And what that something else is, the proponents are saying is a very new way to look at value. And people like Warren Buffett are saying is just a bubble for people who don't know what they're talking about. I'm trying to figure out what it is.
Interesting. Okay. Now, look, I want to kind of go down an interesting path here with you, because I think out of anyone, I think you are the right person to answer these types of questions and get your perspective on this. And that is this, maybe this sense that Bitcoin has, obviously there's a dark side to Bitcoin. There's a dark side to everything. I mean, US dollars were used to sell, and still to this day are used to sell narcotics around the world. There's billions of dollars reportedly stashed, billions of US dollars stashed in the Colombian countryside. And obviously Bitcoin has been used this way. Now, there are some people that wonder, because the NSA did experiment with Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies back in the 1970s, if this isn't some sort of mechanism to help siphon money from, let's just say, countries that are maybe somewhat unfriendly to the US and maybe not the best economically situated, maybe that's China, Venezuela, Iran, countries like this, and move currency out of those countries easily and bring them to the US, where it's helping prop up the economy. Obviously, asset prices are rising with what's happened with real estate, things along those lines. What's your take on that?
Well, if we're going to go into conspiracy theories, maybe the mafia, who's loaded with money, the cartels in Mexico, hired people to create the Bitcoin so they could move money around and launder it. Now, I don't think that's the case. I don't think the theory on what the U.S. government created it. There are a lot of smart people kicking around, and this took off. It took off because it gave you the promise of real security and real secrecy. And that's what really is being sold, to the extent that there's any selling going on. I've got a technology that guarantees both your privacy and the security. The problem is this. In the end, this is digital. And as we know, everything digital has been broken at a certain point. And this is encryption. And every encryption that we've known historically has at some point been broken. Now, this may well be the one that can't be broken, but I guarantee one thing, forgetting the US government and forgetting the mafia, there are some really brilliant people, mathematicians, hackers, and all that, who are doing nothing right now trying to figure out how to game the Bitcoin. If not how to break into it, how to steal the passwords, how to go to the people's computers and get that. Whatever it is, and I'm not smart enough to be able to imagine how they're going to do it, I can guarantee you without any doubt there are people looking to do this, and other people who maliciously will want to break in and just wreck it. Now, the proponents of it say it can't be done, and this may be the first digital product that is hack-proof, but the odds against that are pretty good.
Okay, well, I would love to have a debate on you with that, but I think we're going to set it aside and we will save that because we're going to do that one day. But what I do want to ask you about is this. Where do we go from here? It seems like obviously the regulatory bodies, especially in the US, they're paying attention to what's happening with Bitcoin. It's the hottest thing on Wall Street right now. Where do you think things go from here? And circling back around to what you started off the conversation talking about, that you're concerned that obviously something like this, if it rises big enough, that it could impact the entire system. You know, try to connect all those dots for me.
Well, there is no underlying product that you're buying. There is an abstract concept in digital form, and its price is determined by supply and demand. Now, the supply sometimes goes up, the supply goes down. There are those who are delighted that the price went up, and there are those who are saying the price can go down. And whenever I hear, you gotta buy this, it's gotta go up, it won't go down, I run like crazy. I've got brokers who promise me that. What goes up goes down, and the faster it goes up, the more likely it is to go down equally fast. So right now we have an abstract product where demand, purely psychological, is forcing it upward, and it can go down. There's one class of people, of course, who really want to use this mechanism. As you pointed out, they've bought drugs with dollars, but their basic problem is money laundering. This is a venue in which not only can money be laundered, but it's very hard for the government to really get a handle on what's going on. So if you were to guess, and I'm purely guessing, you know, what is this huge amount of money coming into the Bitcoins? Well, if I had some money I didn't want to report, this is a pretty good place, it looks to most people, to put it there. And then there are, as always, a bunch of enthusiasts, small investors, who think this is the thing that'll make me rich. And they're in there. And you've got a really volatile mix of people buying and being motivated to be in there. Small investors with weak hands who will panic when the price goes down. Other people who are just passing through and cleaning their money. It's a volatile situation. We've never seen anything like this. People are happy to admit that we've never seen anything like this. I'm the pessimist. I'm the bad guy. I'm the guy who says, I've never seen anything like this, and that makes me scared of what it is. The rest of you can enjoy yourselves.
Well, Dr. Friedman, always appreciate your insights, and this is a topic that will most certainly be discussed and debated here over the next few months, given what's happening. Really appreciate your time. Look forward to talking to you next time.
Take care.